Something is shifting right now, not around you, for someone specific in your life. A door is closing, yes, but only because heaven is forcing open something bigger. And if you feel it in your chest right now, that quiet pull, that unexplainable hope, that is not coincidence. That is God moving. Stay with me, because in the next 5 minutes, I am going to show you exactly what heaven is doing for your special person today, and why the timing of you watching this video is not an accident. If you have never subscribed to this channel, do it right now, because what we talk about here will change the way you see God, people, and the invisible forces working behind every relationship in your life. And before this video ends, I am going to reveal the one sign that confirms heaven has already sealed something new for this person. You do not want to miss that part. So let us begin. There is a person in your life right now. Maybe they are close to you. Maybe there is distance, silence, confusion, or even pain between you. Maybe you have been praying for them. Maybe you have been crying over them. Maybe you have been wondering why God has not moved yet. But here's what I need you to understand. God has never stopped moving. You just could not see where He was working, because God does not always move loudly. Sometimes He moves in silence. Sometimes He moves in the background of someone's life, rearranging things you cannot see, pulling out roots that were buried deep, cutting attachments that were invisible to the human eye, healing wounds that even the person themselves did not know they had. And today, heaven is not just moving for your special person. Heaven is opening a brand new chapter for them. And the reason this is happening today, in this season, is because God has been preparing both of you. Not just them, both of you. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." God spoke that verse not just as a comfort, He spoke it as a declaration. He was saying, I already finished writing the ending. You are just living through the middle chapters right now. And in the middle, things look messy. In the middle, people walk away. In the middle, silence feels like abandonment. In the middle, delay feels like rejection. But God was never writing a story of rejection for you. He was writing a story of restoration. And the chapter that is opening today for your special person is directly connected to your story. Now let me explain what heaven actually does when it opens a new chapter for someone. Because a lot of people think God just snaps His fingers and everything changes overnight. That is not how it works. When heaven opens a new chapter for a person, it first does something very specific. It breaks the old patterns inside them. Every person carries patterns. Patterns of fear, patterns of running away, patterns of self-protection that look like coldness or distance. Patterns of choosing the wrong things because the right things feel unfamiliar. Your special person has been carrying patterns, and those patterns are what kept them stuck, not because they were bad, not because God gave up on them, but because those patterns were built as armor, built to survive something painful from their past. And God, in His kindness, does not rip armor off a person by force. He slowly, carefully, lovingly reveals to them that they no longer need it. That is the process you may have been watching from a distance. That confusion you saw in them, that pulling away, that strange behavior that made no sense to you, that was not rejection. That was God doing surgery on their soul. And surgery looks like chaos from the outside, but from heaven's perspective, it's precision. It's delicate. It's love in its most disciplined form. And today, something in that surgery is complete. Not everything, but something critical. A wall has come down inside this person. A wall they may not even have a name for yet.
a wall that was built when they were much younger, maybe from a parent who left, maybe from a love that betrayed them, maybe from years of feeling like they were never enough. That wall is cracking, and when a wall cracks in the spirit, the light does not gradually trickle in, it floods, and that flood changes everything. Their thoughts will change, their desires will shift. What once felt comfortable will start to feel empty. What once felt scary, like vulnerability, like commitment, like closeness, will start to feel like the only thing they actually want. That's what heaven opening a new chapter looks like from the inside of a person. Now let me tell you what it looks like from your side. From your side, it often looks like nothing is happening. It looks like the silence is permanent. It looks like the distance has become the new normal. It looks like maybe you should just move on. Maybe you should just forget it. Maybe you should just accept that this chapter of your life is already closed. But that feeling, that quiet, persistent feeling in your chest that tells you this is not over, that is not wishful thinking. That is discernment. God gives certain people the ability to feel what He is doing before they can see it. You are one of those people. The fact that you are watching this video, the fact that this person is still on your heart, the fact that you have not been able to fully let go no matter how hard you tried, that is not weakness. That is spiritual sensitivity. That is God keeping your heart open for a reason, because closed hearts cannot receive what heaven is about to bring. And He can't let you close yours if He is planning to open everything soon. Now, I want to speak to the doubt for a moment, because some of you are watching this and a part of you wants to believe it, but another part of you has been hurt too many times. Another part of you believed before and was disappointed. Another part of you is afraid that if you hope again and it doesn't happen, the next heartbreak will be the one that finally breaks you for good. I understand that, and God understands that too. But here's the truth that changes everything. Hope in God is not the same as hope in an outcome. When you hope in God, you are not betting everything on one specific result. You are trusting that whatever He is building is better than you could plan for yourself. So even as I tell you that heaven is opening a new chapter for your special person, I am not asking you to build your entire emotional security on one person choosing you. I am asking you to trust that God sees both of your lives, every single detail, and He is writing something that neither of you could write alone. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in this season is not to chase, not to push, not to force a conversation or send a message or try to make something happen. Sometimes the most powerful thing is to become so rooted in God, so full of peace, so aligned with who He is calling you to be, that when this person turns around, what they see in you is different. Not because you put on a mask, not because you performed healing, but because God actually healed you. And healed people carry a different energy. Healed people don't beg. Healed people don't chase. Healed people know their value is not determined by whether one person sees it. But healed people also know how to love deeply, fully, and without fear. And when two healed people come together, or when one person comes back having gone through the surgery of God and meets someone who is no longer standing in pain, that's when something extraordinary happens. That's when God shows off. Now let me talk about the timing, because timing is one of the most misunderstood things in the spiritual life. We want things on our timeline. We want answers in our season. We want doors to open the moment we feel ready. But God operates on a different calendar. His calendar is not based on how long you have been waiting. It's based on how ready you actually are. Not how you feel ready, how ready you actually are. And there's a difference. You can feel ready and still hold wounds that would destroy the very thing you are asking for. You can feel ready and still have patterns that would push away the blessing the moment it arrived. God, in his kindness, does not rip armor off a person by force. He slowly, carefully, lovingly reveals to them that they no longer need it. That is the process you may have been watching from a distance. That confusion you saw in them, that pulling away, that strange behavior that made no sense to you. That was not rejection. That was God doing surgery on their soul. And surgery looks like chaos from the outside, but from heaven's perspective, it's precision, it's delicate, it's love in its most disciplined form. And today, something in that surgery is complete. Not everything, but something critical. A wall has come down inside this person, a wall they may not even have a name for yet, a wall that was built when they were much younger, maybe from a parent who...
I want to talk about what happens inside you while you are waiting for this new chapter to fully arrive. Because the waiting room is where most people lose everything. Not because God stopped working, but because the waiting room is uncomfortable. And uncomfortable people make desperate decisions. They send the message they should not send. They show up where they were not invited. They try to speed up something that God deliberately set at a specific pace. And every time you try to rush what God is doing, you do not speed it up. You actually push it further away. Because God is not just building a moment between you and this person. He is building a foundation. And foundations cannot be rushed. You cannot pour concrete and walk on it 5 minutes later. You have to let it set. You have to let it harden. You have to trust the process even when the surface still looks wet. And right now, the foundation God is building between you and your special person is still setting. It is still hardening. And your patience is not passive. Your patience is part of the construction. Every day you choose peace over panic, you are laying another brick. Every day you choose faith over fear, the foundation gets stronger. Every day you do not chase, do not beg, do not shrink yourself to keep someone interested. You are adding to something God is building that will last. And when it is ready, nothing will be able to shake it. Not distance, not time, not misunderstanding, not the opinions of people around you, because what God builds, He builds to endure. Now, I want to talk about something that nobody talks about in these kinds of conversations. I want to talk about the identity shift that has to happen before a new chapter can fully open. See, most people are waiting for an external change. They're waiting for the other person to change. They're waiting for the situation to change. They're waiting for the circumstances to align. But heaven works from the inside out, not from the outside in. Before the chapter changes around you, God changes something inside you. And that inside change is what makes you ready to carry what the new chapter brings. Because here is something that will challenge you. Not every person who prays for a new chapter is ready for what comes with it. Some people want the relationship, but have not yet dealt with the jealousy that would poison it. Some people want the connection, but still carry the abandonment wounds that would make them sabotage it. Some people want the love, but still believe deep down that they do not deserve it. And a loving God will not hand you something beautiful that you are currently set up to destroy. So He works on you first. He deals with the jealousy. He heals the abandonment. He dismantles the belief that you are not enough. And He does this through the very season you are currently in. The silence is not punishment. The waiting is not abandonment. The delay is discipleship. God is discipling your heart for the weight of what He is about to place in your hands. And if you let Him finish the work instead of interrupting it, what you receive on the other side will be something you can actually hold without dropping it. Think about that. How many blessings have you received before and dropped them because you were not ready? How many good things came into your life and left because the internal work was not done? God is making sure that does not happen this time. This time, He is doing it properly. This time, He is building you into someone who can receive, carry, protect, and nurture what He sends. And that process, as uncomfortable as it feels, is the most loving thing he could possibly do. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" God asked that question intentionally. Do you not perceive it? Because the new thing was already happening. It was already springing up, but they could not see it yet. And God was almost surprised, that they were missing it. Because from his perspective, the new thing was obvious. It was visible. It was moving. The problem was not that nothing was happening. The problem was that they were looking in the wrong direction. They were grieving what was behind them. And while their eyes were fixed on the closed door, God had already opened a window, a larger door, an entire new road they hadn't even noticed yet. And I wonder if that's you right now. I wonder if you've been so focused on what closed, so focused on the silence, the distance, the confusion, that you've been missing the new thing already springing up around you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what new thing do you think God is doing in your life right now, even if you can only see a small piece of it. I read every single comment and I want to hear what God is showing you, because your testimony might be the exact thing someone else needs to read today to keep going. Now, let me speak directly to those of you who are in the most painful version of this waiting. Those of you where it's not just distance, it's a full breakdown, a separation that felt final, a situation that looked completely over from every angle, a relationship where there were words said that seemed impossible to take back, a silence that stretched so long it started to feel like a wall. I want to speak to you specifically, because easy cases don't need miracles. Easy cases just need time and communication. But your case, the one that looks impossible, that's the exact kind of case God specializes in. God doesn't get glory from things that fix themselves. God gets glory from things that only He could have turned around. And if your situation looks like something only God could fix, then you are in exactly the right position for a miracle. Not a small shift, not a minor improvement, a full, undeniable, heaven-stamped miracle that makes people around you say, "How did that happen?" And your answer will be simple. God happened. Only God could have done this. And that's exactly the story He wants to write for you. But here's what I need you to do in the meantime. Stop rehearsing the broken version of the story. Every time your mind goes back to what was said, what was done, what went wrong, what they chose, what you lost, you are rehearsing the old chapter. And the more you rehearse it, the harder it becomes to believe the new chapter is possible. You have to start rehearsing the new version, not in a delusional way, not pretending the pain didn't happen, but in a faith-filled way. Start speaking what you believe God is capable of doing. Start seeing this person through the lens of what God is building in them, not what they showed you in their most broken moment. Because people are not their worst moments, just like you are not your worst moments. And God sees the finished version of every person He is working on. He does not see your special person as who they were when things fell apart. He sees who they are becoming right now, in the private moments, in the silent nights, in the questions they're asking themselves that nobody else can hear. And that person, the one becoming, is not far from the breakthrough. They are close, closer than you think, closer than it looks from the outside. And the breakthrough, when it comes, will not look like a slow, gradual warming. It will look sudden. It will feel like it came out of nowhere. That's how God works. He works slowly in the background, quietly, without announcements, without warnings. And then the moment He's ready, everything moves at once. And you will look back at this exact season you are in right now, and you will finally understand why it had to take this long. You will understand what He was building. You will see the pieces He was arranging, and you will be grateful. Not just that it happened, but that it happened this way. Because the way it happens matters. The story of how it happened will be the thing you tell for the rest of your life. And God is writing a story worth telling. Now, I want to ask you something directly, and I want you to answer it in the comments, because this question has the power to shift something in you just by answering it honestly. If you fully trusted that God had already written a beautiful ending to this story, what would you do differently today? Would you stop panicking? Would you put down the phone and stop obsessing over their last scene? Would you take care of yourself better? Would you sleep in peace tonight instead of lying awake running scenarios? Whatever your answer is, that's what God is asking you to do right now, not when things change, right now. Because the version of you that lives as if God has already handled it is the version of you that is actually ready for what He is sending. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision, a daily, sometimes hourly decision to act as though God is who He says He is. And every time you make that decision, even when it's hard, you are becoming more and more the person who can carry this new chapter without being crushed by it. You are becoming someone with shoulders wide enough for what heaven is handing you. And heaven is watching that growth with something that I can only describe as divine pride. The way a parent watches a child take their first steps and can't stop smiling, that's how heaven watches you choose faith in this season. And your special person, even without knowing it, is being drawn toward that version of you. Not the version that's desperate, not the version that's shrinking, the version that's standing, the version that's full, the version that has peace in their eyes, even when the situation has not resolved yet. That is magnetic. That is what love actually runs toward. And that is who you are becoming right now. So if this video has meant something to you today, I want you to do 3 things. First, comment the word open below this video. Just that one word, open.